Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. Happy October, everybody. Today is October the 1st, 2024. That means that we're, of course, 3/4 of the way through the year. 9 months down, 3 months to go. Um, Hope everybody's having a good week thus far. Um, Welcome to the Mikestand. If you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that being said, we're going to give it a couple minutes here to give people a chance to come in. Before we get going here. Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. He laughs and plays in beds all day. Friendliest ghost you'll see. Oh, anyways, let's see. Casper, the friendly ghost, friendliest ghost you know. He laughs and plays in beds all day. Alrighty then, so we're just again waiting around for let's see, we're at 2.5 minutes now, so alright, so here we go. Okay. So, as you guys probably saw when I sent out the share today, tonight's going to be a very special episode of the Mic Stand, as we are getting into October, which of course, October ends with Halloween, of course. I know, like Me TV Tunes, for example, will be doing their Spooktober event. This is, of course, the month of the year where we get all spooky. I mean, I already know there are a couple of neighbors I have who already got their their Halloween decorations up. I'm sure many of you have neighbors who've done the same thing. They were getting them up even before September was even out, as it were. So, so as we get into the month of ghosts and ghoulies and our favorite monsters and all that, tonight on this very special episode of the Mic Stand, I decided to take a look back at um, one of my favorite characters. Of course, I think it's probably a favorite of many who probably grown up. Whether you saw him in the original theatrical shorts back in the 40s, 50s, and 40s and 50s, or whether you saw him in some of his television incarnations, or in the movies, or even in the comic books. Um, Tonight we're going to be looking at the history of the friendliest ghost you'll ever meet, or know, Casper. Look back on the afterlife of Casper, as it were. You know, uh, we're going to look at, of course, his world, the world of Casper the Friendly Ghost. We're going to, meet all of his friends, including, of course, the Ghostly Trio, Spooky, um, Wendy the Witch, um, Harry Scary, and many others. We're going to also, of course, probably take a quick peek at all at many of those who lent their voices to Casper throughout his many incarnations. And of course, after we do all that, of course, of course, the wrestling wrap up. Get you all caught up on on the WWE, AEW, and maybe even some other stuff. Well, and then we'll finish off with this day in each history. So, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started then? All right, so here we go. Here we go. Casper the Friendly Ghost is a fictional character who serves as the protagonist of the famous studio theatrical animated cartoon series of the same name. He is a translucent ghost who is pleasant and personable, but often criticized by his three wicked uncles, the ghostly trio. Let's first off, and maybe I should have did this before I even started in on that. So, his first appearance, of course, was in The Friendly Ghost, November 16, 1945, created by Seymour Raitt, Joe Oriolo, and Vincent E. Valentine, adapted by Harvey Comics, voiced by various. His race, of course, is a ghost, a deceased human in some versions. Male, the friendly ghost, family's a ghostly trio. So let's continue on with the article here. And we got that out of the way. Should have probably did that before, but. And as I said, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people here to gauge and hopefully even to subscribe. As well as if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer questions to the best of my ability. So with that being said, let's continue on with this. The character was featured in 55 theatrical cartoons titled The Friendly Ghost from 1945 to 1959. So that's about 14 years, 55 divided by, so just under 4 a year, basically. The character has been featured in comic books published by Harvey Comics, along with other beloved characters such as Little Audrey, Baby Huey, Herman and Catnip, Mohair and Tommy Tortoise. Sure we've all seen many of these characters. Richie Rich. Following Harvey's purchase of the character, he appeared in 5 television series. Maddie's Fun Day Funnies, 1959-61. That was a one of the earlier anthology shows that basically got together a number of the Harvey comic shorts, the theatrical shorts, and would put them for television. The new Casper cartoon show from 1963 to 1970, Casper and the Angels, 1979. Casper and the Angels, of course, was I believe that was done in cooperation with Hanna-Barbera. The Spectacular New Adventures of Casper in 1998, and Casper's Scare School, 2009 to 2012. The character made his theatrical film debut, a live-action adaptation of the series by Universal Pictures, which is kind of interesting because Casper, when Famous Studios was actually contracted by Paramount originally. So when his theatrical shorts were originally being distributed, they were of course being distributed by Paramount. So you would have thought they would have handled the film as well. Casper in 1995 to where he became the first computer-generated character to star in a film. He would later appear in 4 direct-to-video and made-for-TV follow-up films. All right, so creation. Let's look at Casper's creation here. And let's see, and we still don't have anything. Okay. Again, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Creation. Casper was developed by Seymour Raitt and Joe Oriolo. The former, or the first guy, devising the idea for the character, and the latter, the second guy, Oriola, providing illustration. So basically, Seymour Rate was the writer, Oriola was the artist. Initially intended as the basis for a children's storybook, and that doesn't surprise me considering the whole theme of Casper, him being a little bit different from his ghostly race. He doesn't want to go out and scare people. He wants to go out and make friends. We've seen, and if you've ever seen a Casper cartoon, particularly the theatrical shorts back in the 40s and 50s, you know that I was just watching a couple of his cartoons earlier today. One of them where he was, getting involved with a little kid who wanted to play pirate because his older brother wouldn't let him play with his older brother, and his friend wouldn't let him play with that. So there was at first little interest in their idea, and the book went unpublished. In the original Harvey Toons animation, Casper has been seen standing next to a grave inscribed with Casper, quote unquote, that supports the theory that he is indeed a ghost. Originally, stories have shown that his visibility is due to wearing a sheet. Yeah, that was common in a lot of cartoons, particularly in the Golden Age, right? We've seen that. I've seen it's not just in the Casper cartoons. I've seen it in Popeye cartoons, a number of them, where a sheet is either an actual ghost does actually wear a sheet, or somebody who's trying to pretend to be a ghost will put a sheet over them to pretend to be a ghost. So that was a common theme then. Let's see. In the Casper live action film, this is not shown, and it is implied that he is naturally visible to humans as a white creature. When Ray was away on military service during World War II, before the book was released, Oriolo sold the rights to the book to Paramount Pictures, Famous Studios animation division, for a total of $175. This one-time payment was all that he received, missing out on a share of revenue earned from the films, comic books, and merchandise to come. Yeah, it's kind of sometimes that's kind of the bad thing. You don't always know until it's too late when you really have something, right? Casper again has proved to be one of the most enduring characters of all time. The whole concept of a friendly ghost who just wants to be friends with everybody is something that I'm sure that once we get over the fact, oh, I'm scared, realize, oh, wait, he's actually a friendly ghost. I shouldn't be scared of him. He's a nice ghost. Or as Yogi put it in I think it was Casper's Christmas special, he's a nice kid with a sheet on. The Friendly Ghost, the first novel tune to feature. Now, novel tune, that was one, like many companies, sometimes on certain anthology series, they'd put like of course, with Warner Brothers, Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes. Usually it was music themed. Let's see, like harmonizing with and MGM with Happy Harmonies, Silly Symphonies from Disney. So in the case of Famous Studios and Paramount, it was novel tunes. To feature Casper was released by Paramount in 1945, with a few differences from the book. In the cartoon adaptation, Casper is a cute ghost child with a New York accent who inhabits a haunted house along with a community of adult ghosts, who delight in scaring the living. Casper, in contrast, is a nonconformist among ghosts. He would prefer to make friends with people. He packs up his belongings and goes out into the world, hoping to find friends. However, the animals that he meets, in parentheses, a rooster, a mole, a cat, a mouse named Herman. Herman, of course, another character from the Harvey comic stable, as in Herman and Catnip. Herman, who was, of course, voiced by the late, great Arnold Stang, who also voiced Top Cat for Hanna-Barbera. And a group of hens, in parentheses, take one horrified look at him, scream, "A ghost!" and run off in the other direction. Distraught, Casper unsuccessfully attempts to commit suicide. Not that, okay. I'm laughing, but suicide is never funny, people. Okay. It's kind of comical in the case of a ghost, though, because they're already dead. So it is kind of comical in that perspective. But suicide is very serious. And if you do know somebody who is considering suicide, you should try to get them help as soon as you should help them, try to get them some help as soon as possible. So there's your PSA for the evening. In parentheses here, apparently forgetting that he is already dead, on parentheses, by lying down on a railway track before the oncoming train. Before he meets two children named Bonnie and Johnny, who become his friends. The children's mother, apparently widowed and impoverished, at first is frightened of Casper, but later welcomes him into the family after he unintentionally frightens off a greedy landlord. Yeah, I've seen this cartoon. I've seen this particular short on a few occasions. That whole thing is just very nice and cute. How basically once the mother gets to know Casper, he basically is adopted into their family. So if you haven't seen The Friendly Ghost, you should really check it out when you can. And just another reminder, of course, you can catch Casper and Company on MeTV Tunes. Through at least the end of this week, you can catch it on at 2 p.m. Pacific during the week, 11 or 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, on MeTV Tunes on Friendly TV or wherever you can find it. And on the weekends at like 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Saturday mornings. Starting next week, of course, the weekday show will be moving to 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific from its 11 to make room for Super Friends. And so with that being said, though, let's continue on with the who who unwilling to own a quote unquote haunted house or quote unquote haunted house tears up the mortgage and gives her house outright. The short ends with the mother kissing Bonnie, Johnny, and Casper as she sends them off to school, with Casper wearing clothing as if he were a living child. Now, don't you just miss cartoons like that? Don't you just miss cartoons like that? Those kind of little cute slice of life type cartoons like that, where the children have no fear of the ghost, yet adults, and you see this throughout the Casper shorts, right? Children and young animals have no fear of him. They just see him as a friendly kid. Adults will usually freak out. So, um, well, anyways, Casper appeared in two more subsequent cartoons. There's Good Boots Tonight and A Haunting We Will Go. There's Good Boots Tonight differs wildly from later Casper cartoons, although the theme of Casper trying to find a friend and failing in these attempts before succeeding also occurs in later cartoons. The tone of the short turns remarkably dark when a hunter and his dogs appear chasing the little fox cub named Ferdy that Casper has befriended. Yeah, I mean, again, sometimes some of these shorts could be a little bit dark, obviously. Um, Although Casper scares the hunter and dogs away, Casper discovers Ferdy dead after a harrowing chase scene. Happily, however, Ferdy returns as a ghost to join his friend Casper in the afterlife. So, kind of a happy ending to a dark cartoon. Let's see. Let's see now. Let's see if any of it. Nope. All right. These three cartoons were initially billed as noveltoons before Paramount started the official Casper the Friendly Ghost series in 1950 and ran the theatrical releases until the summer of 1959. This is, of course, about 4 years. By 1959, Paramount was transitioning from the theatrical shorts to television. Of course, they were also at the time throughout the 50s were distributing the Popeye Paramount shorts, Popeye Famous Studio shorts as well. So they were already starting to transition into cartoon, into television rather. Most of the entries in the series were relatively the same. Casper, now slightly thinner than the pudgy figure that appeared in earlier cartoons, in parentheses there, escapes from the afterlife of a regular ghost because he finds that scaring people can be tiresome year after year. Tries to find friends, but inadvertently scares almost everyone, and finally finds a, in parentheses, cute little, unparentheses, friend. As I said, again, a lot of these times they're like younger children, um, you know, younger children, usually, in that like 5 to 8 range, you know, where they're not, where they have no fear like that, you know, so whom he saves from some sort of fate, leading to his acceptance by those initially scared of him. Animation historian Leonard Maltin, in his book of Mice and Magic, said that Casper was, quote, the most monotonous character to invade Cartoonland since Mighty Mouse. It seemed as if every Casper cartoon followed the same storyline, with only minor variations. And I think in this particular case, though, there wasn't really anything wrong with that. You know, you know, there wasn't, there was basically a very positive message in these cartoons. Idea that it's better to be good and go out and make friends than be bad and go out and scare people. Might have been monotonous because they may have used the same formula, but obviously it worked because it was very popular. Right? Sure, we all again have seen a Casper cartoon here or there. All right, appearances. Harvey Comics. And then right here, of course, on the left-hand side here, from March 1999, cover of Casper the Friendly Ghost #1. Um, so Harvey Comics. Casper was first published in comics form in August 1949 by St. John Publications, running for 5 issues until September 1951. In 1952, Alfred Harvey, founder and publisher of Harvey Comics, began producing Casper comic books. Yeah. Casper first appeared in Harvey Comics Hits number 61, October 1952. That was the cover date, I would guess. And then moved to a solo book with Casper the Friendly Ghost number 7 in December 1952. In 1959, Harvey purchased the rights to the character outright. So he purchased it from 1952. That's where you get the transition from novel to Harvey tunes, right? Casper went on to headline a large number of comic book series, as well as appearing in backup stories and guest appearances in other titles. The Casper series inspired 3 popular spin-offs: Spooky the Tough Little Ghost, Wendy the Good Little Witch, and the Ghostly Trio. Again, all based on characters from Casper's supporting cast. I'm sure we've all seen before. Casper's titles include Casper Adventure Digest, Casper and Friends, which of course was also used as a TV title at one point. Casper and Friends magazine, Casper and Nightmare. Nightmare was a ghostly horse that was introduced in the new Casper cartoon series, as I recall. Casper and Spooky, Casper and the Ghostly Trio, Casper A Spirited Beginning, the film adaptation, Casper Big Book, Casper Died, all these books, Casper Scare School. Many of them also had accompanying TV specials or famous TV Fun Day Funnies, Harvey Tuvek. So yeah. In 2009, a new Casper comic was published called Casper and the Spectrals by Arden Entertainment. Much like the Man of Steel and Batman Year One did with their respective characters, it revamped Casper and several other Harvey characters for a new audience. After selling 6,400 copies of the first comic, the last 2 issues were published in 2010. Comic book publisher American Mythology picked up the Casper the Friendly Ghost title and has also published Casper and Wendy and Casper and Hot Stuff. Hot Stuff was another Harvey comic-based character, of course. A little devil running around making trouble. Here we go. We have some comments here. How to join StreamYard? I don't, I'm not, again, I'm not. What is the Magi anime? Magi was a set of anime that was, I did watch it before, but it was a set of anime back in the late 2000s. How bad is Sentai dubbing? It dipped in quality over the. I don't think so. I don't really think so, but anyways. So television. Casper has starred in 5 television shows. And again, just a friendly reminder, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. But anyways, Casper starred in 5 television shows. Maddie's Fun Day Funnies, which I talked about earlier, which was a kind of an anthology series that brought many of the Harvey comics, cartoon, theatrical shorts to television. 1989, 1961. The new Casper cartoon show from 63 to 70. Casper and the Angels, which was a cartoon series of 1 year that was co-produced by Hanna-Barbera. It also would give us a couple of specials. Casper's Halloween special, which will actually be, I believe that will be shown on October 27th on MeTV Tunes on Friendly TV, and Casper's Haunted Christmas. Let's see. The Harvey Toons show from 1990-1994, known in the UK as Casper, made the Harvey Toons show, which was another anthology piece that brought together a lot of the Harvey Toons shorts. The Spectacular New Adventures of Casper from 1996 to 1998, and Casper's Scare School 2009 to 2012. After Harvey bought the rights to Casper and many other famous properties in 1959, including Herman and Catnip, Little Audrey, and Baby Huey, they began broadcasting the post-September 1950 theatrical famous shorts on a television show sponsored by Mattel Toys titled Maddie's Fun Day Funnies, which is what I was talking about, on ABC in 1959, which introduced the Barbie doll to the public. The other famous produced Casper cartoons had already been acquired by television distributor UM&M TV Corporation in 1956. UM&M retitled just, quote, A Haunting We Will Go, but credited featuring Casper, the Friendly Ghost, as featuring Casper's Friendly Ghost. Let's see. All right, nothing new there. New cartoons were created for the new Casper cartoon show in 1963, also on ABC. The original Casper cartoons were syndicated under the title Harvey Toons, initially repackaged as Casper and Company, which you can also see again on MeTV Tunes as well, in 1963, and ran continuously until the mid-90s, which is, of course, how I would often see them, when they get rotated in. Casper has remained popular in reruns and merchandising. Hanna-Barbera Productions, and this is one of the other things I was talking about, also gave Casper 2 holiday specials. Casper's First Christmas, which also starred Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Snagglepuss, Quick Draw McGraw, Augie Doggy, and Doggy Daddy. It's kind of funny with that particular, in parentheses, with that Casper's First Christmas, it was actually produced and premiered before Yogi's First Christmas, but the way they played it out, they made it seem like it happened after Yogi's First Christmas. Like Yogi and the gang were returning for our New Year at Jellystone Park, to the Jellystone Lodge for the Christmas season, as it were. Even though I believe Casper's First Christmas came out in 1979, which was a year before Yogi's First Christmas. And Casper's Halloween special, aka Casper Saves Halloween, and also the Saturday morning cartoon series Casper and the Angels, animated takeoff on 2 live-action hit shows, Charlie Angels and Chips, in the autumn of 1979, all on NBC. Also featured on the NBC version was a big ghost named Harry Scary, voiced by John Stevenson. John Stevenson, who lent his voice over the years to many a character, including Augie Doggy, Doggy Daddy, Doctor Doom in the, I believe he voiced Doctor Doom in the 90s. Let's see. Who else? Trying to remember. Well, anyways, moving on from that. None of Casper's original co-stars appeared in the show. Between 1990 and 1994, Casper appeared in the Harvey Toon Show, which was known as Casper and Friends in the UK. This show featured other Harvey Comics characters in the series, including basically another package show, compilation show of the old shorts. Little Audrey, Tommy Tortoise, Mohair, Baby Huey, Herman Catnip, Buzzy the Crow, Modern Adcast, Possum Pearl, Professor Schmautz, Jeeper and Creeper, and others. The show consisted of famous studios produced cartoons from 1950 to 1964, and each episode of the series included three full cartoons and one Toon Take segment. In 1996, Amblin Entertainment and Universal Cartoon Studios created a new Casper series for the Fox Kids called The Spectacular New Adventures of Casper, based on the 1995 feature that lasted 2 years and was never seen on television again after 1998. Kind of wonder why that was. Let's see where we're at on time, and so I didn't see if there's anything new here. Okay, no, 37 minutes. Okay. Let's see. In 2009, Moonscope. Excuse me for one moment, people. I'm gonna gotta take care of something here real quick. I'm gonna put some music on to entertain you. All right, I'm back. So let's go ahead and get back to our feature presentation, as it were here. So in 2009, Moonscoop Group, association with Classic Media, TF1 and DQ, produced a TV show named Casper Scare School based on the film of the same name. In 2020, Casper appeared in a supporting role in the Scarebud episode of Harvey Girls Forever, series based on Harvey comic characters. Basically, some of the Harvey comic characters, like Little Audrey, Little Lulu. I think there was one more little in there, Little Lotta, I believe. Little Lotta. A new live-action television series in the works at Peacock, co-produced between Universal Content Productions and DreamWorks Animation, with Wu Kai-yu writing and executive producing. Films. So now what we're talking about here, I believe, are more the feature-length films of Casper, not just, we've already talked about the theatrical shorts. These are the feature-length films that I think they're going to tell us about here. The famous studio's version of Casper was one of many characters considered to appear in the 1988 film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Casper would have appeared at Marvin Acme's funeral. I guess it's Marvin the Martian, I guess. Rising from Acme's grave as his coffin is lowered, scaring away the mourners. The funeral scene was storyboarded but cut before being animated. Numerous Casper cartoons were released on home video by Universal Studios via MCA Incorporated, which also adopted the friendly ghost into a live-action feature film titled Casper in 1995, where he and his wicked uncles, the ghostly trio, were rendered via computer animation, which initially created the first CGI lead character in a film. The film constructed a backstory for the character and is the only time in the series that the question of his death had been addressed. Because one of the things I had recently read about in terms of Casper was, at least when you're going back to the there was at least one short where they seemed to indicate that Casper was born a ghost, basically born to ghostly parents. That was kind of the idea that was put out there in that regard. So, anyways, continuing on here. Let's see. According to the film, Casper was a 12-year-old boy living in Whipstaff Manor with his inventor father, J.T. McFadden, until he died from pneumonia after playing out in the cold until it was well past nightfall. 2 live-action direct-to-video follow-ups to the film, Casper: A Spirited Beginning and Casper Meets Wendy, which introduced Hilary Duff as fellow Harvey Commons character Wendy the Good Little Witch. So Hilary Duff as Wendy the Good Little Witch. That sounds interesting. Were made. They were followed by Casper's Haunted Christmas, starring Spooky and Pole from the comics, and Casper's Scare School, which were done entirely in CGI with no live-action elements. In 2001, Harvey Entertainment was acquired by Classic Media, which, till 2012, licensed the Harvey properties, including Casper. Casper made a cameo in a MetLife commercial, along with several other cartoon characters. In 2012, later that same year, Classic Media was acquired by DreamWorks Animation, which in turn would be acquired by NBC Universal in 2016, and thus Universal Studios, the producer of the original live-action feature film, now manages the rights to the character and other related characters, in addition to regaining the rights to Casper's Haunted Christmas, which Universal itself originally released in late 2000. However, Casper Meets Wendy is currently owned by the Walt Disney Company through BBS Entertainment and 20th Television. In 2019, Casper made an appearance in a Geico commercial. All right. So now with all that out of the way, let's talk about some of the actors who have portrayed Casper, who either lent their voice to the character of Casper or have actually portrayed him in live action or CGI. So, of course, in the majority of the famous studio cartoon shorts, Alan Shea, Cecil Roy, and Gwen Davies all had at some point provided the voice of Casper in the famous studio show. I believe Cecil Roy was probably the most recognized. Now, even though Cecil is typically considered a boy's name, it's actually a woman. It's an actress. And as usually is the case in a lot of cases, you do have women who will portray, prepubescent boy characters in a lot of animation and all that. Usually if they can't find a guy to do the younger voice character, then they'll bring in a woman to do those characters. Of course, Cecil Roy among others. Like Mona Marshall over the years, Susan Bluth. Let's see. Trying to think of some others. So those are some of them. Ann Lloyd provides the voice in Golden Records, Casper the Friendly Goat, and the Little Goat. So I think that was a record. Let's see. June Foray, the legendary June Foray, who we all know most notably as Granny from Looney Tunes, from Warner Brothers, provides the voice of Mattel's talking Casper the Friendly Ghost doll in 1961. Norma McMillan and Ginny Tyler would provide the voice would provide his voice in the new Casper cartoon shows. Ginny Tyler, I think, also around that same time, the 60s, also doing, she also, I think, might have been involved in the 1967 Fantastic Four Hanna-Barbera series, voicing Sue Richards in that series. Let's see, Julie McWhirter, of course, the wife of Rick Dees, provided the voice of provided his voice in Casper and the Angels, Casper's Halloween Special, and Casper's First Christmas. Julie McWhirter would also, of course, go on to voice Sassette in the Smurfs as well in the 80s there. Let's see. Malachi Pearson would voice Casper in the 1995 films Casper and the Spectacular 99 film Casper and the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper in 1998. Devon Sawa is the only actor to ever have played the character in live action, portraying him in a sequence from the 1995 film in which Casper was temporarily brought back to life. April Winchell, of course, the sister of Paul Winchell, April Winchell, who also provided the voice of Miss Spinster in Recess, would provide the voice of Baby Casper in an episode of the Spectacular New Adventures of Casper, Three Ghosts and a Baby. Let's see. Jeremy Foley would voice Casper in Casper and Spirited Beginning, Casper Meets Wendy. Brendan Ryan Barrett would provide his voice in Casper's Haunted Christmas. Devin Werkheiser would provide his voice in Casper's Scare School. Carolyn Hennessy would provide Casper's voice in Casper Friends Around the World. Oliver Stern would provide Casper's voice in the Geico commercial of 2019. And then Bobby Moynihan would provide Casper's voice in an episode of in Harvey Girls Forever. Of course, among friends supporting characters that we find, of course, probably the most well known, of course, are Wendy the Good Little Witch, the ghostly trio, Casper's Uncles, Stench Fatso Stinky, Spooky the Tough Little Ghost. He befriended, of course, as we said, Santa Claus and the Hanna-Barbera guys in Casper's First Christmas. again, obviously we're not going to, obviously he'd have associations with other Hardy in later special Harry Scary, Minnie and Maxie and the Casper and the Angels cartoon. So basically, yeah. So and then of course, you know, people who were not so nice were his enemies. The Ghostly Trio was also probably his most ardent enemies in some of his early days there. So that's all we got for you on that. So hopefully, I hope you guys enjoyed looking back at the afterlife of Casper the Friendly Ghost. There, we're now at 51 minutes. So let me go ahead and get through some WWE news real quick here. As of course last night's Monday Night Raw. Look over the go too far there. Yeah, went too far. Anyways, from last night's Monday Night Raw, the go home Raw before this weekend's Bad Blood, saw the opening match Xavier Woods defeat Rey Mysterio. Zoe Stark with Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville in her corner defeated Lyria Valkyrie. The Judgment Day trio of Carlito, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough with Liv Morgan in their corner defeated the LWO members of Cruz del Toro, Dragon Lee, and Joaquin Wilde. Chad Gable defeated Kofi Kingston in their one-on-one match. The Authors of Pain, Akam and Rezar, defeated Tag Team Awesome Truth, which brought about the heel turn of The Miz. Miz turned on R-Truth after the match. And the last Monster Standing match, Braun Strowman defeated Bronson Reed with the help of a returning Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins making his way back from injury and going after Bronson Reed for taking him out in the first place. Of course, CM Punk and Braun Strowman they also had a promo back and forth leading into their match at this Saturday's Bad Blood. Now, talking a little bit about what's going on tonight's. As tonight, of course, WWE's NXT program will be making its debut on the CW app, having moved from television to the CW app. On tonight's episode of NXT, Zachary Wentz will be taking on Wes Lee in a street fight to try to gain revenge for Wes Lee's attack on Wentz's tag team partner in the Radicals, Trey Miguel. Jada Parker teams with Lola Vice to take on Fatal Influence of Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix in what looks like to be a handicap match. In a match for the NXT Women's title, Roxanne Perez will be defending against the recently arrived Julia. And Ethan Page defends NXT title against Trick Williams with CM Punk as the special guest referee. So with that being said, and one more little piece of interesting news there from WWE. Apparently, they blocked Bryan Danielson recently tried to get trademark rights to the saying yes, 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 based on his yes movement a few years ago. The copyright trademark had apparently expired, and he sought to try to grab it, and the WWE apparently blocked him from doing it, seeking, I guess, to get it back themselves. So, to claim it themselves. So with that now, so that's all I got for you in terms of the wrestling wrap up. So now, with today being Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Let's take a look back. This date in Nietzsche history. 1924, and 2009. All right. So first off, 100 years ago today, back in 1924, on this date back in 1924, J.R. Bray Studios, Colonel Heza, Liar, the Lion Tamer, was released in theaters on this date back in 1924. So 100 years ago today, J.R. Bray Studios, Colonel Heza, Liar, the Lion Tamer, premiered in movie theaters on this date back in 1924, 100 years ago today, back before sound was included in the theatrical shorts. Now, moving ahead to 1964, 60 years ago today, on this date, 60 years ago today, approximately, Kurt and Carl von Bronner were awarded the WBA World Tag Team titles in what was claimed to be a Phantom Tag Team match, defeating Dick the Bruiser and Wilbur Snyder in Memphis, Tennessee. So theoretically, on this date back in 1964, 60 years ago today, the Von Bronners, Carl and Kurt Von Bronner, were awarded the World Wrestling Association World Tag Team Championships in what was thought of as a fictitious match in Memphis, Tennessee, with former champs Dick the Bruiser and Wilbur Snyder. Moving ahead now to 2009, 15 years ago today. On this date, 15 years ago today, on this day, 15 years ago today, back in 2009, the second season of Azura Cryan from 7 Arcs was premiered on Japanese television on this date back in 2009. So 15 years ago today, the second season of Ashura Cryan from 7 Arcs was premiered on Japanese television on this date 15 years ago. And finally, 10 years ago today, back in 2014, 10 years ago today, the 5th and final issue of Burn the Orphanage, Reign of Terror from Image Comics went on sale on this date back in 2014. So 10 years ago today, the 5th and final issue of Burn the Orphanage, Reign of Terror went on sale on newsstands on this date back in 2014 from Image Comics. Sold for $3.99 with 36 pages. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here with more niche news tomorrow, of course. Also, don't forget this Friday, Apex from Apex Comics will be joining me as we'll be looking back comics that went on sale in March of 1940. This week we'll be looking at comics that went on sale from Quality Comics. We'll be introducing guys, of course, to Crack Comics #1, Smash Comics #10, introducing you to such characters as Black Condor, Red Torpedo, and Alias the Spider. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye!